Oh, cool.
Blog Talk Radio.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Gentlemen, and welcome to Superhero Academy. I'm your host for this afternoon, Crossfire the Crusader, and online with me today is our visiting professor, the amazing Peter TANGEN from the Real Life Superhero Project, and we're going to be talking all about that today. I want to thank everybody for being here. If you would like to call in and talk with me and Peter TANGEN today, the call-in number is 917-889-3317. Repeat, 917-889-3317, and lines are open as we talk. Peter, welcome to Superhero Academy, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's nice to be here, Crossfire. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Oh, yes. We've kind of conversed back and forth on the message boards here ever since you started the project, just off and on, but this first weekend I've had a chance to talk to you was yesterday's first chance to talk to you, and we're going to start right at the beginning. I know a lot of people know the story, but some of them don't. Just basically tell us about the Real Life Superhero Project, how you got it started, what exactly you've done, and the charities and such that they're benefiting from your work and such.
Terrific. The story started, I was, as a photographer, looking for a personal project, and my background is doing photographs that are used in movie posters. I'd photographed for all of the Spider-Man films and others that are in the superhero genre. And a little over a year and a half ago, I discovered that there were people that were actually adopting the superhero persona and going out in the world to make a difference. And it just immediately captured my imagination. So I decided I needed to know more. I needed to meet these people. I wanted to photograph them. And that was the beginning of the project for me. The idea was to do a bunch of research and, as soon as possible, meet people that were doing this and do photographs. And, the first thing I discovered was that the media basically was mocking this community of people. There were pieces out there that were basically making fun of, costumed activists. And I didn't think that was fair because I felt like you guys, as a community, really illustrated a specific concept. That concept is, in my mind, the idea that the world's problems are never really going to get changed until individuals realize that one person can make a difference. And I feel like in so many ways, real-life superheroes are out individually making a positive difference in the world. So that began the process of wanting to express this mission, this idea that one person can make a difference to the public at large. And I decided it was going to be a real-life superhero project photographing superheroes, and wanted to use the tools of the trade that I use professionally with things like Spider-Man movie posters to make movie posters of real-life superheroes. That's how it began.
Yeah, and to be honest, I've seen your work, and you have done some great work. The people that have been photographed are just astounding, the quality of the pictures and what all you've done. And but you've done this all through volunteer work, correct?
Yeah, this has been an entirely volunteer-based project. There have been about 100 or more people in the community of people I work with in Hollywood that have all supported this project with their time and their talents. A lot of these people are creatives in Hollywood. A lot of art directors, for instance, about 5 art directors. that have worked on these posters with me collaboratively, creating what is more than just the picture of a person, but the backgrounds and the graphics that are involved. We've had a brilliant writer named Hillel Wasserman who's been interviewing and doing the written profiles and all the other written content on the website. There's James Coxis is the web designer, webmaster for this for the website. There have been many editors for the videos, 3D graphics guys. But it was also supported by the assistants that work for me, hair and makeup artists, caterers, the studios that lent me their gear and their space, the company that provided me with all the camera technologies, and the list is rather extensive. It's well over 100 people, and quite frankly, it's 100% volunteer. The only money that's really been spent on this has been money that I've dedicated to it.
Interesting. Now, I know this has been shown, if I'm not mistaken, in New York and Los Angeles already, correct?
Well, actually, the first time that anything was seen in the public at large was when we did a story. We participated in a story about real-life superheroes for 2020 last summer. And so they inspired us to launch our website a little bit before we were ready to. We didn't have all the materials completely done. And then in July, concurrent with Comic-Con, we had a party thrown to basically announce the Real Life Superhero Project to the public at large. Had about 500 people come in and had a bunch of the photography on the walls. And so as far as an exhibition space, we're currently talking to a couple of quite prestigious spaces around the country to finally mount the exhibition that we hope will be eventually a traveling exhibition. To further describe the story of real-life superheroes and this noble act of actually looking outside their own four walls to make a difference in the world, and hope to have this traveling show going around, sometime during 2011, and hopefully beyond.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, the project, I named it the Real Life Superhero Project, and it's kind of evolved. It was originally just going to be this one LA exhibition, possibly an exhibition in New York. It always is dedicated to, at some point, any money that would come in would be dedicated to charity, whether it's through the sale of limited edition prints or something like that. And but the project has kind of grown to the extent that it seems to have caught the attention of the media around the world, and we feel like we're making choices that are supportive of our goals to actually bring this message worldwide as much as possible. And that's seemingly very successful. I think we've reached 100 million people right now with the project, or the media that we've supported all over the world, actually.
Like I said, that is really impressive, and it's still all voluntary, still doing support charity and such. It speaks volumes about the content. Like you said, you got to believe that one person can make a difference, and using the imagery of a superhero to make that difference is just, it's fun for the person doing it. It's exciting for the people watching it, but the people just sometimes don't realize the impact that something so simple as a created persona like a superhero can have to get somebody's attention and focus it in the direction of a cause or something that needs to be done. And I, I'm very impressed with the way you've been able to take that and further make it even, clarify that image and put it out there in the public and bring more attention to the causes everybody that's participating in this has supported. So,
well, thank you. I feel like we live in a world of symbols, and you guys. Superheroes in fictional form are modern mythology, and I honestly feel like what real-life superheroes are doing is they're using symbolism to essentially market good deeds. And, what all I've really done is I've created this eye candy that surprises people in a way that, you might hear, oh, there's a real-life superhero in your community, and you might think, oh, that's interesting. With the eye candy we've created with these posters and the sophisticated website that we've developed, which has far more information about what missions people are on and what they stand for, I think we're grabbing attention in a way that actually is spreading, hopefully virally, and hopefully people are seeing past the mask, basically, to realize that simple things can make a positive difference in people's worlds, and that it's within the reach of each of us to actually just try to do that.
Definitely. I'm going to use that as a segue, of course. It's one of the things that I'm doing here on the Crossfire Superhero Academy. About 3 weeks ago, I challenge my listeners and the people that read my blog to participate in a cape drive for Heart Heroes. In 2011, we interviewed the people from Heart Heroes a few weeks back, and what they do is they provide capes to children who are suffering from congenital diseases of the heart. These capes are created by a company called Power Capes, and what they have found is that by giving these children a cape, they are able to go online with their little card, and they purchase the cape, they design what they want, it's given to them, it helps them find their inner hero. And they need this inner hero because some of these children, as young as 3 years old, may have already had 3 or 4 open heart surgeries. And they put on the cape, they find their inner hero, and they're able to face off against this enemy, this congenital disease of the heart that wants to kill them. And the wonderful lady, Miss Kitty, that helped start this, she was telling us about her son and how he won't even go to the doctor without his Power Cape. And so, again, I want to challenge everybody that's listening to continue. I have pledged to do 6 capes for the year. Our goal is to do 600 before the end of the year. They have in 1 year they did 200 capes, and they needed 200 more because they had a waiting list. And we estimate that if they did that in 2010, they'll do that again in 2011, which gives them a need through the end of the year of 600 capes. And so we've already had some wonderful people that have, one young lady that's on my Facebook has dedicated part of her business to every sale she makes in this one area is she's going to make a donation to Power Capes and to Heart Heroes. I want to challenge everybody to just take up that challenge. Go to my Facebook page. I'll have the link there. I'll link the page on the show page here also when the show's over today. Let's get this out there. I have spoken to them here in the past week, chatted with them, and they are excited to have the people of the real-life superhero community getting behind Heart Heroes and helping these young kids to face this demon that's trying to take them down. So, people, if you're listening, I challenge you to look into yourself and see what you can do over the next year. If we have 100 heroes who give 6 capes, we would meet their goal. And there's more than 100 of us out there that can do this. So,
this thing is awesome. I'm just on the website right now. This is fantastic. I mean, count me in. I hope everyone does something as well.
Oh, definitely. They are some amazing. It was one of the most heart-wrenching shows that I've done yet. Listening to her talk about the children and how they found the strength through this symbology of a superhero. When they become their inner hero, they're not afraid of the surgery anymore. You know, Superman's not afraid to go to the doctor. Why should they be? And so, you know, it's powerful. And, you know, like we said, that image, that visual is so powerful. You know, whether it's McGruff the crime dog telling kids to take a bite out of crime, whether it's Superman selling Twinkies in the old comic books, you know, or whatever, that image of a superhero is bigger than life. And by being bigger than life, he could focus in on a need and make a point about it, and people listen. Whether they admit it or not, they listen. So, let's see, other than the real-life superhero project, you have been working with, I'm going to lose their names. There's a movie that's coming out, a documentary.
Yes.
And I have lost my notes, and I cannot remember the name of the documentary or the gentleman that's running it. So I'm looking for my notes.
The documentary premiered on Friday night at the Slam Dance Film Festival in Park City, Utah. It's called Superheroes. It is directed by Michael Barnett and produced by Theodore James. And they began their production early last year. Sometime in the early summer, they discovered the Real Life Superhero Project and invited me to join their team as a consulting producer, which I did, and I've been working with them in sort of an advisory role ever since. And the premiere was attended by, among others, Citizen Prime and his wife, Insignis and several others from the Black Monday Society. Mr. Extreme and Zimmer were there. There were about 8 guys there, Professor Midnight and a number of others. And it was great. It was a sold-out show. There were people turned away. It got a full minute of nonstop applause when the movie ended, and the question and answer series that took place afterwards made me know confidently that the people that had seen that film were terrifically inspired by the work that real-life superheroes are doing.
Now, this is another project I'm curious. Do we suppose this video project, this movie, is going to actually get some national exposure or even possibly a video release?
I believe this film will be seen all over the world. I believe this film will be seen, hopefully, in theaters around the country. Whether or not that happens, it will absolutely be seen on cable television. It'll be available in DVD. It'll be seen. There'll be distribution rights sold to the film in international territories. And having seen this film, having seen the reaction by the audience, understanding what buzz is going on at the festival in Park City, knowing sort of the behind-the-scenes stuff that are going on with people that are interested in this film, I am absolutely confident this film will be seen, and that everybody that is listening now will have a chance to see it.
That's awesome. Well, as we move forward, the Real Life Superhero Project, the movie's in the can, it's being shown. Where do you see the Real Life Superhero Project going? Is this going to continue to grow and evolve? Is it going to be added to, or is this going to be moving on to a new project from here, or where do you see that going?
Well, I am a changed person because I've met this community of people, and I've met some of the finest people I've ever known in my life, and call many of them dear friends of mine. I am so inspired by what you as a community represent, and it's actually an exciting opportunity that I am experiencing, the ability to tell my friends and to tell people I've never met before that they have individually the power to make a difference in someone's life. And I'm going to continue telling that story as long as I have the support of the people I'm talking about. I've got another 15 superheroes. I've been fortunate enough to be in the same place as they are with cameras in hand. I have a long list of other superheroes that I absolutely intend to photograph in the future. And until we run out of heroes, I plan on continuing to meet them and photograph them and give them an opportunity to basically tell the world at large what they believe in and what they stand for.
Very good. Well, when I originally scheduled you on here, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you and bring you on here is because, like I tell everybody, that we all have something to learn and we all have something to teach, and that's the whole premise behind Superhero Academy, is sharing our strengths to help overcome our weaknesses, overcoming the negativity by strengthening the positive. And one of the things that got me to invite you was a little thing that we joke about called Pete's Law.
Yeah, I've read that a couple of times on forums.
Yeah, I'd like to get your advice, your take, and say a new superhero, we call him Hero X, is stepping onto the scene. How would you advise them as far as handling of the media and such like that? Just
well, let me back up.
Avail us of your knowledge here.
Yeah, the first time I read that phrase, Pete's Law, I totally cringed inside. I think of myself as Alfred to your Batman. I hope that what I do is provide sort of I try to support you guys in any way that I can, but it's always been my desire to no way co-opt or have anything other than an advisory or a cheerleader-like role within this community. The media is growing in their interest in real-life superheroes, and from day one, my desire to bring this message to the public at large, was going to be judged on whether or not the media would actually be interested in what this story is. And from day one, from the day that we started publicly showing this stuff, I've been very clear that anybody that wants to ask me questions from my perspective, working in Hollywood, what to do if the media comes calling, I've basically said, anybody wants to call me can call me. I'll talk to everybody that's a real-life superhero. I want to make sure that I tell a story that's accurate and representative of what you stand for. The idea of Pete's Law, I think, probably came about because, and I don't know this for sure, but at some point there's a national magazine coming out with a story about you guys, and they've asked to keep the name of the magazine quiet so that nobody knows about it in their competitive world. And I believe it's going to be a very good story, and they've talked to quite a few people in the community. And they just simply said, let's keep it under wraps that we're doing this story, and let's hope that nobody else breaks this story before us. So I asked the community to just, keep it quiet, guys. Let's not do any other big stories for a couple of weeks. And I think that's where it came from. Is that your recollection?
That's basically how I recollected. There was something big coming out, and you had basically said, "Can we just keep this on the QT for a little while?" It was around the time I had a student from University of Arkansas that was wanting to do an interview with me,
right?
And that got real big real fast, and then went away real quick. And I was very thankful when it did, because he was talking about trying to get it published in some national magazines and some other stuff. And I'm like, I was willing to do an interview for a student. I didn't want to do this and get into something really huge, but
and the reason I cringed on the law thing is because I'm only saying this is like. I really cringe at the idea of law. I have no power in this community. I want no power in this community. I have information. I have people coming to me that want to do stories, a lot of things like that. And, in this case, I believed it would be in service of the overall story of this community if they were aware that they had the choice to, empower this particular magazine to be able to tell a great story and be the first ones out to do it. I don't have it. I would never ask anybody to do anything where there was anything other than just my perspective that it would be a smart choice. But there's no. I hate this law thing.
Well, in seriousness though, just if I was starting out today and I asked you, what's the best way to handle the media? Do I need to send out press releases?
Right.
How do I need responses for requests for interviews, such like that? What would be your advice?
Well, the first thing I would advise you to do is to learn as much as you can. If you're brand new in this, learn about this community, learn about its history, learn about the media that's been done in the past. Get really clear on why you're here and what your mission is. And I mean, most people that come to this don't come to it because they want to talk to the press. And it would be I would suggest to anybody that has got through that point where they're really clear on their missions, they understand their position in the community, they understand what the community is all about and how they relate to it. I would basically just tell them to be selective on the media that you do, to be clear on what your message is, and to avoid the pitfalls of a potentially hostile media when it comes to how you deal with situations where they might ask you a question that's front-loaded so that you answer it in a way that might be sensational and they can actually exploit you. It's like if you watch what politicians do, they'll be asked a question, and they'll answer the question with the answer they want to give you, even if it's not even relevant to the question. And with the media, it's the same thing. You want to know what you want to say to the media. You want to know what you want them to hear, and you just have to find a way to articulate that in an environment where they're asking you questions.
I kind of picture a superhero doing that song from this little chicken house in Texas, about dancing a little sidestep.
Yeah. Well, with all the media attention that goes on with this community, it's a great opportunity for people to express, what it is they stand for. And, a skeptical media will always wonder why the funny costume or questions such as that. And it's wise to think about the answer to that question that's in service of your message. If you say, I wear a costume because it's fun, that's a perfectly acceptable answer. If you say you wear it because you're using a symbol to get a message across to inspire an audience, whatever it is. But if you think about the kinds of questions you're going to get asked before you ask them, you can craft a message that basically serves your overall agenda.
I agree. I've used the media to promote events over the years, even as a clown, as a Renaissance Fair performer, and even in the past year, once as a superhero, to promote an event that I was doing to get people out to an event. But at the same time, interviews are something I'm not really, as ironically as I'm doing interviews on this show, I'm not really interested in giving interviews so much. I might have to just turn the table so that somebody grill me on air one week and see what they get out of me.
That'd be good.
But I've never
You know,
really
it's a
been
personal choice, and everybody will make their own choices as to whether they're interested at all in using the media to express what it is they stand for or whatever their message may be. You know, for some, they don't want to do any. So for others, they love the opportunity. And, you know, one of the things I told everybody when I organized the shoot in Los Angeles for late summer of 2009, you know, I had to call a bunch of people and talk to them, and I'd never talked to these people. I didn't have a relationship with them, and I had to hope that they would want to participate in this project. And one of the things I told them was that I wanted to give them the microphone. You know, I wanted them to have an opportunity to speak to a great audience, you know, and I've never felt like it was my role to tell people what to do with that microphone, you know. And, you know, I mean, I've told people what I thought about, you know, different subtle things, but in the end, my first goal with regard to that is that I just want to give people a chance to be heard. And it's up to them to express themselves.
Very much so. Everybody that's listening, this is, again, Crossfire the Crusader on Superhero Academy. I'm here with Peter TANGEN. Am I saying that right, Peter?
No. It's okay.
How about the Peter TANGEN?
You know, I pronounce it TANGEN, but you know, if you go by popularity, you know, the most people say TANGEN, but it's TANGEN. Doesn't matter.
You know, I should learn to ask with this redneck accent of mine. I'm terrible with names anyway. So, Peter TANGEN of the Real Life Superhero Project. He's our visiting professor this week. Anybody that would like to call in with questions or just to talk to him for a little bit, the number is 917-889-3317, and everybody is welcome to call in today. This is not just my show, and it is our show as a community, 917-889-3317. One of the things, we have some little things that we do every week. I do a thing called the Drop Zone. The Drop Zone is where I share my weight loss and anybody else like me that's trying to lose weight, and I have to confess this week in the Drop Zone, again, I was in a holding pattern, so I didn't lose any weight this week, but I didn't gain any, so that's a good. The other thing that we do is the Silver Seal of Approval, and Silver Sentinel was unavailable to call in. He sent me a message earlier today to let me know who our Silver Seal winner was, and this week he is giving it to a group called the Locks of Love. Locks of Love is people donate their hair to make wigs for children or people with cancer. And it is a wonderful group. I've known several people that have made donations to them over the years. And most recently, among the Real Life Superhero community, Golden Valkyrie has chopped off the golden locks and donated them to Locks of Love. Sorry, guys. I know it breaks some hearts, but she has donated her hair to this worthy cause. And her and the Locks of Love win the Silver Seal of Approval this week. And we applaud them for what they're doing to serve their world around them. So thank you for that, and thank you, Silver Sentinel, for sending it to me earlier today. We hope you'll be back with us next week. Work schedules are kind of funny.
That's awesome. I'm sorry that Silver. That's awesome that she's done that. I know others that are doing it. It's a great cause, and it's unfortunately Silver can't be here today. He's like one of the guys that I'm really impressed with, and hopefully one day I'll have the chance to meet him. But I'll be listening in next week to hear him on next week's show.
Oh, definitely. He was actually the first guest here on our first week when we did this, our test show, if you want to call it that. He was the very first visiting professor, and he's been a recurring part of the show ever since with the Silver Seal. I have a number calling in. This is unlisted number, 111. You're on the Superhero Academy. Who do I have?
This is Bill from Greenbowl, Alabama. I don't know why it's not coming through.
Bill? Okay.
Yeah.
I've got area code 305. You're on Superhero Academy.
Good afternoon, or evening, as the case may be. This is Night Owl.
Night Owl, how you doing?
Hello,
Welcome
guys.
to the show. Welcome, Night Owl. Either one of you have a question for Peter TANGEN?
No, just calling a chit-chat. I wanted to ask him how Slam Dance was going. I'm reading up some updates from Zimmer and some other people who are out there. I wanted to get a first-hand account. How's everything going?
Yeah, it was really exciting on Friday night. You know, the city is just packed, and there's Sundance and Slam Dance happening at the same time. And, you know, it's a beautiful ski town, and the snow is falling. And, the theater is basically oversold. There's 30 people waiting in line to get lucky enough if someone doesn't show up, and others who couldn't even wait in line hoping to get in. It was just really positive. I experienced the film for the first time with the general audience, and I was absolutely thrilled with the reaction the audience had throughout the entire film. I mean, they laughed at the right points, they cried at the right points, and at the end of the film, they just were so happy and enthusiastic for their experience. It was terrific. It was great. It was awesome.
That's fantastic. I can't wait to see it. I've seen a few samples on the internet already, and I'm stoked. I want to see the whole thing.
What my favorite question that was asked in the question and answer series that followed the film, someone asked Michael, the director, a question, and they prefaced that question by saying it was clear that he loved his cast, that he loved the people that he was doing this documentary about. And I think that's really fantastic that that's the perspective the audience had. Because in the end, I think, his goal is to tell a story, that's true and fair but inspires an audience, because you guys do.
Excellent.
Definitely. Now, Peter, how many heroes have you photographed in total?
Oh, off the top of my head, I think it's probably 30 to 35, so I'm just getting started. And so I've had the pleasure of meeting Night Owl and photographing him. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I've been out on the streets with him as well.
Oh, that was a great time.
Yeah. I asked the community for direction on well, actually, it's hard to describe it that way. Like, if I go into a city to do a photo shoot and I've got my cameras and my lights and all that stuff working, I look to see who's in that town, and if I get a chance to photograph them, I do. And, obviously from this community. And then, when I'm shooting in L.A., if there are people that are in the area at that time, I want to photograph them. Razorhawk's got something coming up in July, and a lot of people are hoping to attend Hope 2011. And I am hoping to mount a major, Los Angeles version 2 photo shoot where we can do, photographs of anybody and everybody from the community that's there, and, hopefully do, more group shots and do more posters. And I'm lining up the team to do all of this, and I think that would be fantastic.
That would be excellent. I was actually mentioned on one of the forums, it would be amazing if we could do a part 2, because I actually there was the smallest chance I could have made it to the LA shoot the first time, but it was about a week. It was in the last week before I had to go back to Iraq, and it would have been a logistical nightmare to get out there and then get back on red eye within 48 hours and then head out. So
yeah,
but I was very flattered that I got the offer, and it was a perfect storm when we got to meet you in Vancouver for the Winter Olympic get together.
Yeah, that was great. And I've photographed a bunch of guys. Like I photographed you, Night Owl, but we've only shot you for the portraits. But when we do this next shoot, and whenever I get the chance, I want to do posters wherever I can. I want to conceptualize a group shot where we can take pictures that I've already done and add, how cool would it be to have 80 or 100 real-life superheroes in a group shot that's 12 feet tall and 80 feet wide. I just want to be able to do stuff like that, and more posters, more interviews. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. So, Peter,
we got Bill on the phone, too, right?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Hey, Bill.
How's it going?
Excellent.
Well, actually, I do have a question. When you do these photographs and you're, I guess, sitting down or standing up with these fellas, do you ever get any of their personality types? You got to have some sort of rapport with them. You said you didn't really, know some of them when you had to call them, but, tell us a little bit about, how they act. Some people only get to see what others have put out there for them to see. You don't really hear about Master Legend and his exploits other than what's on YouTube.
Right. The funny thing is about, with the LA shoot, well, actually, I should say in advance of that, my bread and butter as a photographer is that I have the ability to, have pretty quick relationship with someone I'm photographing, and a pretty fast relationship that allows us to actually have fun and do photographs. And in the LA shoot, almost everything you see on the website through the first 20 profiles, actually everything but the Thanatos stuff, was all done in one day. And that's the video interviews and, the motion shots that are in some of the videos, and all of the photography was literally all done in a day. And so I was just talking to Zimmer about this yesterday. Actually, as it relates to Master Legend, I probably only spent 20 minutes with ML during that entire 16 or 18-hour day, because it was one hero in and the next one out. And so it's my job to basically, quickly have a relationship with somebody that is such that they can then express their personality when I'm photographing them. And that's just sort of the nature of my day. I don't know that I spent more than 20 minutes with any individual person that day. I've spent a lot of time with these people since. I've gotten to know them quite well, though.
You ever have any, strange happenings going on? I mean, any
in
villains kicking through the door and they have to fight them?
You mean in my professional life as a photographer for Hollywood, or in my superhero photography life?
Well, hell, I mean, either or.
And have you ever had any what go on?
I mean, they're superheroes. You ever have any, oh, I got to go, can't finish a shoot, I got to go, take care of this?
Oh, yeah, you know what? The timing of events that might have caused that kind of thing have never got in the way of photo sessions.
Count yourself lucky, because sometimes things just don't happen. Greetings,
That's
gentlemen.
A good voice.
It's
What's
Agent
that?
Wraith.
Huh?
I figured that was Agent Wraith.
Oh, how'd you know, Crossfire? How'd you know?
The number.
111. Yeah, that's usually how it works.
That's pretty much how it works.
So
Wait, has Bill become a different person here, guys?
This is our recurring supervillain that calls in for the show.
Now.
Wraith.
And what's
I've never referred to myself as a supervillain.
What is your name, sir?
Nemesis. How's that sound?
Agent Wraith at your service.
Agent, I'm sorry, I talked over you. Agent Wraith?
Agent Wraith, yes. I'm a ghost of sorts.
Okay. Well, how are you doing today?
Well, things are actually looking quite up. The ground war with the United States Border Patrol has been postponed, and most of my projects are going off quite well. But Crossfire, I don't believe I've actually referred to myself as a super villain. If anything, I'm quite not so super.
Definitely, and I do apologize for the assumption there. This is our darker voice, I guess I could say. Now, Peter, one of the questions I wanted to throw out to you is, what is the most funny thing that's happened to you over the course of this project, and what's the most inspirational thing?
Oh, wow. The most inspirational thing that I've experienced because of this project has been the change in me as a person. And I'm not talking about something that it would inspire other people. It's my own reaction to the experiences I've had with this community. I'm a more proactively kind, compassionate individual in this world, and I look for opportunities where I can make a difference in the lives of others. And to me, that's the most profound thing that's happened because of this. As far as humor, what's the funniest thing that's happened with this?
I know some of the background of this. I remember giggling. They were talking about Master Legend wanting to take a picture riding his motorcycle out of a helicopter. And I'm like, that's my friend Master Legend. So, but what's the more comical moments you had in the process of this?
Oh gosh, I think that particular story may have had something to do with the documentary, as I don't know that story, and I'm kind of at a bit of a loss for humor. I've laughed many times over the process of this. But quite frankly, I'm having trouble thinking of a funny moment that's happened during this project. If I think of one, I'll tell you, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. I've laughed many times with people, and but I mean, anecdotally, I don't know of anything just off the top of my head that was in and of itself a moment of hilarity.
Oh, I could think of one.
Let's hear it.
Oh, when we completed the shoot in Vancouver in that little tiny studio that we had borrowed out for a little bit, and we got the sneak peek of all the photos, there was talk at the time about being able to schedule a premiere of all the posters and the artwork, and you were throwing a lot of ideas, and we were all excited about it. I still had several months to go. I believe I had 2 or 3 months left on my contract, and I wasn't probably going to make it out for that if it was going to be scheduled when it was. And I joked around saying I would probably have to fake a death in order to get home, and Thanatos jumped right in there and said, I can arrange that.
Yeah, that was a funny moment.
Now, you actually got to spend more time with Thanatos than you did with the Heroes in LA, is that correct?
I'm sorry, ask me again?
You've actually spent more time with Thanatos than you did with the Heroes of the LA shoot, is that correct?
I definitely spent more time the first 2 times I photographed him than I did with any individual in Los Angeles. Yeah, I mean, he was the first man I photographed. I found myself going up to Vancouver to do photographs for a sci-fi television show, and having already decided and done a bunch of research, it was time to reach out to my first real-life superhero, and I just checked, and sure enough, the guy that came up in Vancouver was Thanatos, and that's obviously a very lucky thing for me. And so at the end of our day, it was a big production. We had lots of lights going on, and it was just, big old thing happening with the production value. And, of course, I had to make sure the producers and the clients and everybody with the particular client I was working with were going to be cool with a guy in a costume coming in. And when they found out it was Thanatos and I told them a little bit about him, like the lead actress and the producer, hung out because they wanted to meet him. And anyway, at the appointed hour, he showed up, and there he was, and it was awesome. And he came in, and the actress and the first AD or whatever ran over and cornered him and wanted to talk to him, and and then I brought him over to my set, and I photographed him for about 30 minutes, and he was amazing, doing all these just turns and spins and stuff that are very theatrical looking and the kinds of things that I usually have stuntmen doing, and he looked amazing. And then I spent about an hour talking to him afterwards and was really moved by the story he told me about the real-life superhero community. And, fortunately for me, he saw what I wanted to do and became an advocate for the project. And going forward, I was able to actually get a hold of people. And it was about 3.5 weeks later that I had all 20 in Los Angeles. But because I had just him there, I was able to photograph him for more time and spend more time with him. Since then, I went back and I did the portrait of him on another project I was up there to shoot. And since then, I've been out with him on the streets with Night Owl and others and Motormouth, and I've been out to dinner with him. I've been in his home. I've gotten to know him quite well, and it's an honor each time I have the chance to be in his presence or talk to him on the phone.
What's his best side?
In talking with him,
What's his best side?
Thanatos online.
What's that?
I was going to say, talking with Thanatos online, the image I get of him is that when you first meet him, he's one of these people that just immediately owns the room as he walks in. But that he's as you approach him, he is so approachable and so open and friendly that you feel like you're the only person there when you talk to him. That's the way I get. He comes across to me. Is that
have you met him? I'm curious. Have you met him in person?
I have not had the honor of meeting him in person yet.
Yeah.
I've known him online for a while. But
I mean, from my perspective, I had not met a real-life superhero. And, I'm doing my shoot, and, we've got, my set of all my lights. It's, it's a big show. We've got, we're 30 feet wide and 80 feet deep, lights 15 feet in the air, lots of big tent lights flashing and whatnot. And we're doing this in sort of a factory that's really dark except for my lights, so it's a fairly dark space. And over in the corner is a truck door leading to the outdoors. And as I'm just finishing up my last picture, I look over, and there's Thanatos basically in silhouette standing in this glowing light of a truck door. And it was like, oh, my God, there he is. So really dramatic to begin with. And I just put my camera down, and I walk up to him, and he has the most genial and friendly welcome and hello for me. And it's exactly as you described him. That was my exact experience of the man. And as far as Bill is concerned, or Agent Rape, his best side is his face. because he's face forward all the time, always proactive, trying to help people.
So it's Mask.
For the public at large, if we're talking Thanatos, that's the case. If you want to meet him in person without his mask, it's a handsome man as well.
How cute.
How cute? I will leave that judgment to those fortunate enough to actually meet him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thanatos is very cool. Every time I get a chance, as Pete said, to get a trip up there to Vancouver, I try and meet with him just for even a cup of coffee. And if there's one phrase I could describe him, it would be true believer. When you get to talk to him and he shares some of his experience and perspective, you can quickly see that he's one of the guys in the community that really recognizes the basis for the reasons why we do this, and he really understands the human element. And a lot of people do it for different reasons, but you can see he has that real desire to serve and the commitment to do it.
And, something that he told me recently when I was up there, he showed me the business cards that he hands out to the people that he helps.
Yes.
And he actually pulled out, I believe it was 10 of them. And those are 10 that he had returned to him from the morgue, people that died that had them in their possession. And it was 10 out of 11 because I actually carry one myself. It was someone he met because of me, and he gave that to me. So at that time, 11 people had died in Vancouver that he was trying to help. It's 14, in fact, for the whole year by the end of the year.
I think,
it really illustrates the fact that he's helping people most in jeopardy. It's a pretty dramatic thing to know that the people he's helping are actually at risk of death, of dying.
Yeah, I saw him last week, and that number had gone up. It's pretty intense.
I know in talking with Thanatos over the time that I have known him, his stories, his adventures, if you would call it that, are some of the most heart-wrenching, inspiring, powerful, however you want to describe it, from when he talks about dancing, the lady that wanted to dance with death, that he met on the street, to the people that he helped out, that, there was a young lady he rescued that was being attacked, and she was went into rehab. When he gave her the second, she said, "You've been given a second chance." And she went immediately to rehab and got her life back online, and stories like that. And then you look at the other side of the cards he's collected, the ones that have fallen through the cracks that he's been unable to successfully help. I look at what he posts and what he shares, and as I look for what I can do, he's one of those that set a standard. Him and people like him and Zeta Man that are out there doing the deed and interacting in people's lives in such a powerful way. And it's not about the pow, wham, boom, like they get into the fight. It's about the real fight is on a person-to-person level. It's a war for the hearts. It's a war for the souls. It's not a war for who's got the biggest fist, who's got the biggest sword, who's got the biggest baseball bat. It's a war for the hearts of the people and the hearts of the world. And he's one of the ones that's winning this war. And he does it in such a wild way, and you look at his image, and it's such a dark image, but the light shines out from inside the darkness. You can quote me on that. But
I think that
talk with him, that's why I say, I could see him as he walks into the room, that the air leaves the room. As everybody's like, and then as he takes the second or third step, and it's like, this is somebody I want to talk to. And as you talk to him, it's like you've known him your entire life. And that's how he's always come across to me. And I could imagine that even without the Thanatos outfit, that he projects that image in his real life, because it just seems how he is, how he is as a person. And I do hope the day comes.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you.
I just hope the day comes when I get to meet up with him. We've joked about getting together and being the Archangel and the Death Angel. And being side by side, like darkness and light. And we're such extreme differences. Me in the white armor, and him in the dark garb that he wears. But I look at him. I admire what he does because he is such an example of his community and to the world in general. And I think you had an awesome choice there for your first photograph there. You could have come in on any number of people and maybe not been near as inspired as you would have been with Thanatos. I think that's an awesome direction to start out with.
I got really lucky, but I can tell you from personal and direct experience that there are many, many people who would have inspired me equally to go forward with this project. And as it relates to Thanatos, he's an incredibly humble and compassionate man.
Indeed. Oh, definitely.
And he writes really beautifully about the adventures that he's been on, or the missions that he's been on. And I know there are a lot of people out there that are doing equally dramatic things that they're just simply not writing about them. But I know that there are so many that are making great contributions to the people in their community that simply just haven't written the stories of those things. In part because I've been there with them on a couple occasions. I've witnessed it.
Yes. Now, we've got about 9 minutes left of the show. Anybody who wants to stay with us, we could probably go into a short after show. I'm sure Peter's not going to be able to stay with us much beyond the end of the hour. You told me you have some other obligations. Is that correct?
Yeah, I could probably stay another 10 or 15 minutes. I would love to hear from everybody out there. If there's anyone who wants to ask me questions, and put me on the record right here on the broadcast live on the internet. I want to know what your questions are if people want to call in.
I'll give you a question while we start taking callers. What's the you can pass on this one if you want. What's the top 10 people that you want to photograph next?
Next, I'm going to. I want to make sure I don't miss people, but there are people that I really want to photograph. Some of which were people that I invited originally, others that I didn't. Is it okay for me to mention people? Then no, going out with these names. There are many others that I want equally so, but I would love to photograph the eye. I would love to photograph Amazonia. I would love to photograph Captain Prospect. I'd love to photograph Silver Sentinel and Golden Valkyrie. I'd absolutely love to photograph Lionheart, who's in Liberia. Is he part of your community? Not necessarily, but he's using a similar, method of what it is that he's up to.
Oh yeah, some of the United Kingdom guys.
Yeah, so the UK guys would be amazing. I'd love to get Red Arrow just because it expands the idea of the international.
Australia.
Captain Australia, Captain Black. Man, I got to get Captain Black. Red Dragon. What's his name? Dragonheart. The list is just really extensive. There are so many people in this community, and I can't think of someone I don't want to photograph. But some of the ones and many others that I'm sure I'm missing from this list. If I could photograph 200 real life superheroes, I would do it in a heartbeat. Blackbird and Watchmen, and there's 10. There's just so many that I want to meet and photograph, and meeting them is as important to me as photographing them, because each one of them is another insight into my own world, into my own soul. I learn from everyone I talk to, everyone I meet. And Crossfire, man, I got to photograph you. I would love to get your picture. So anyway, I hope I've offended no one by missing names that are people I would absolutely love to photograph. But
I've always pictured the real life superhero community. You have to understand where I come from. My mom is a quilter, and she likes to make these beautiful quilts. And I've always pictured the real life superhero community as a big patchwork quilt. And in talking about it, I think what kind of a neat project would it be? I might put my mom on this one of these days to actually print out the pictures onto the cloth and do a real life superhero quilt with all the different pictures and show our community as diverse as it is. But that's how we are.
Yeah.
I mean,
we are. It's a perfect cross section of America.
Community. Yeah.
I mean,
we all have different ways of doing things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it represents young and old, and Caucasian and non-Caucasian, and gay and straight, and Republicans and Democrats, and deeply religious and atheists, and people doing well financially, and others that are potentially unemployed. I mean, it's an absolute cross-section of America. And one of the things about the project I've done is I've been trying to articulate a story that I hope inspires the world at large, and I'm photographing people in this community, and I can't photograph every single person, at least not right now. And so what I'm hoping is that everyone knows that in my mind, a rising tide raises all boats. If a reputation for a community is growing in some small way because of my publicizing this story of these people, that it's good for everybody that does this. And so I hope that everyone is excited about the growing attention that is being paid to this amazing community of people that are among the best of us in this country.
Definitely. I know. I'm looking at my chat room here, and Le'Veon, one of my partners here, has suggested we invite you to Metropolis for the Superman celebration this June. He and I are supposed to be meeting there. We're hoping that Heart Heroes is going to have a gathering of their little heroes there. I'm trying to encourage them to. They haven't committed to it, but that would be awesome. And we're going to be trying to be there for the Superman Festival, and then, if at all possible, I'm going to do a live broadcast of Superhero Academy from the Superman Festival. But that's just going to remain to be seen how that works. But if you want me to invite you to come to that, they give us.
I would love to.
Give us there. There's going to be quite a few. Awesome. There's going to be so many superheroes and cosplayers and the works at the Superman Festival that's just amazing. It is an entire town that turns out into capes and tights and has a blast. So you're definitely invited to that. Of course, I'm planning to be there. Le'Veon's going to be there. I know several of our friends are going to be there. It would be a great opportunity to meet, and I'm sure you'd have a ball doing that. We've got about 3 minutes, people. Here in about a minute, I'm going to do our closing, and I'm going to stay online just for a few minutes unless Night Owl and Agent Rates want to continue the conversation after Peter goes. I probably won't stay too long. I just want to kind of share the teasers for the next upcoming weeks that we've got. Next week is our last hour-long show before Blog Talk Radio changes things over, and we have Civitron who's going to be joining us to talk about the Heroic 100. This is going to be the way to go out of the 1 hour show. I've had some great guests with Zeta Man, Captain Australia, Peter Tangen, last week's show on Martin Luther King Jr. and Civitron. What a way to close out January and close up these hour-long shows. And Peter, I want to thank you for joining us here. This is it's been an honor to have you on the show. So,
well, thank you.
Wants to stay online. If you want to call in and get into the after show, the number is 917-889-3317, and I'm going to close us out with our traditional closing theme. Everybody's ready?
We're men in light. We roam around the forest looking for light. We're men in time. We run from the rich and give to the poor, that's right. We may look like cities, but what would you say, or else we'll put out your light. We're men in tight. Always on guard, defending the people's rights. La 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 from the rich and give to the poor, that's right. We may look like candies, but don't get us wrong or else we'll put out your mouth. We're men in tight, tight, tight. Always on guard, defending the people's rights. When you're in a fix, it's all for the men in tight. We're much.
All right, everybody. Wow, looks like I might still have about a minute. I might have jumped the gun on that. I have lost a caller. I know, are you still with us?
I'm here.
still here.
Yep.
And Peter said, okay, we lost Agent Ray's, and I apologize. I'm not sure what happened there.
Hey, if you still have a minute left of the live broadcast before we go offline?
Sure.
As I always said, I just wanted to thank you for having me on the show and tell you it's an honor to actually be on your show and to, have the opportunity to meet all the people in this community. And I wanted to remind everybody to get out there and support powercapes.com. This thing looks fantastic, and kids really benefit from anyone who wants to participate with that. So I know I will be doing something immediately to support that. I hope everyone else does too.
Awesome. And there, we got Agent Ray's back. Hold on. Agent Ray, are you back?
Oh, you just knew it was me, didn't you?
Well, it's that 111 again.
Yeah,
I've got a few minutes here while I got everybody online. I want to kind of tease what's coming up here in the next few weeks. Next week is our last 1 hour show. Again, that's going to be Civitron talking about the Heroic 100. In February, we're going to be celebrating Rosa Parks' birthday on the 6th, and Captain Black is going to be our guest.
Awesome.
We're going to be talking with Golden Valkyrie on the 13th, talking about the real St. Valentine. And based on our show with St. Nicholas and Martin Luther King Jr., this could be a very powerful show looking at a historical figure like this. February 20th, we're going to have Lunar Veil talking about animal rescue and wolves and some other things. February 27th, another media guest is going to be Tia Krulos, talking about his book Heroes in the Night and his adventures in the real-life superhero community. March 6th, I have a very special guest that I'm very excited about. From the first season of Who Wants to Be a Superhero, we will be interviewing Creature about her work as an environmental activist and her work with elephants in Asia. And then March 13th tops out our list of things that are scheduled right now. We're Amazonia, and we will be talking about King Genevieve's Day. So we have some exciting shows coming up, and look forward to every one of them. I'm very excited about all of those. I do not have guest hosts, visiting professors for the 20th and 27th of March yet, but I can tell you that on the 20th, we're going to do another historical figure and talk about the real-life St. Patrick and what made him a great person and what he did. I found that looking back into these historic figures, we have found some awesome examples of how to do things in the modern day. So we've got a lot coming on. I want to thank you, Peter TANGEN, for being here. I want to thank everybody that was in the chat room, Levion, Boundless, Lord Malignance. I could not say that today. All the guests, there were so many on here today, and I want to thank Peter, and I want to thank Night Owl for calling in, and, of course, Agent Wraith. And looking forward to the weeks to come. Even as we go to a half-hour show, we're still going to be learning a lot as we take the high road, look for positive solutions to the negativity in this world, and learn from each other as we take this path. So, Peter, we've got just a few minutes. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
I can hang out for another 10 or 15 minutes if you want. Throw people on questions. Want to talk about specific stuff?
I have one actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a real favorite of your of the videos that you created for the reallifesuperheroes.com website.
Yeah.
I know I got to see a sneak peek of those when I was in Vancouver, and with Slam Dance going on right now, I was wondering, are you going to save those up for part of the exhibit and do you want a short vignettes, or are you looking to maybe compile all those into a similar kind of documentary, like kind of a sit-down with real-life superheroes and, in their own words, full-length feature?
Right. I thank you for liking those. They are near and dear to my heart. I think they're terrific. We interviewed everybody that was in Los Angeles. Nix only had a few minutes before she had to catch her flight, so as she's the exception. And actually, Good Samaritan was there, although we weren't photographing him, and we did interview him as well. Quite frankly, I would have 20 of these online right now if I could. I'd have every one we've done online. But the video interviews, cutting those interviews and creating all of the graphics for it requires a whole lot of time and effort from editors and producers to actually, and writers to put them together and going through them to decide what we're going to put out into that particular piece, that we just simply haven't had the manpower to do them, and that's the only reason they're not all out online right now. I hope they will one day be all out there, and I don't plan on putting them out like as a standalone piece. I'd like to put them all out on the website. I think what are we, 60, 70,000 people have looked at those things. 375,000 people have been on the website. It's worth it. People see these things, and I think it's good that we do them. So we just haven't had the manpower.
Okay. I was just curious. I mean, like, obviously the photos are terrific eye candy, and I love reading the words firsthand from the people you've interviewed. And it's those short little video interviews. They're just amazing to really get from the mouths of the superheroes in general. Whenever I'm really irritated with the nature of the community at the time, I play those, and they're really inspiring. They really get you deep down.
Yeah,
it's hard not to be moved by them.
I hope that we are able to do. In fact, we will. We'll do more at the San Diego shoot in July as well. Not with an agenda to do a different, like a documentary or something, but actually to use on this website. One of the things we're doing with this site is we're developing something now. We believe that we have an inspired audience, and we're thousands of people a day are looking at the website. I think it's about 42,000 in the last 2 weeks, and we want to give them something to do with that inspiration. And so we're developing a component to the website that is going to be, it's going to point people to places where they can make a difference. And, whether it's pointing people to, power capes, which is great, or there's a thing called Generosity Water, which builds water wells in Africa, or in support of Razorhawk's Hope 2011, we want to basically be a place where people can discover great ways to make a big difference with small effort to do it. Not small, easy ways to make a difference in the world. And we're developing these ideas so that we can support other, social activism and charities, as opposed to having it go through us. It's all going to be directed outwards. We're not touching any of this directly, but that's part of what we're doing with the website as well. And we want to be able to use videos there to support that too.
Excellent.
But that's super cool that you look at that when you're feeling like, I need a little boost. That's really awesome. I've shown it to people personally, and there's from time to time I get a few tears out of people's eyes when they watch the one on DC.
I was just going to say, when we got to see that short clip and got that little sneak peek, that was, you could have heard a pin drop when you pulled out your laptop and you were playing that short clip. It was extremely moving, and DC himself is just very inspiring.
Very true. When am I going to see you again, Night Owl?
I don't know. I'm
July, right?
I'm making plans to come to Hope 2011. Right. I've given preliminary confirmation with Razorhawk a couple months ago. It'll be a little tricky because I'm in paramedic school right now. That'll be towards the end of my didactic, classroom training, and I need to focus on that. Obviously, if I can swing it, I'm definitely going to try and make it. I'm looking at the tickets online to see when they become available because I definitely want to go to the con as well if I'm going to be coming anyway. I want to see some of the events. It's not like I make it out to comic conventions very often, but the temptation to meet Razorhawk and Urban Avenger, Mr. Extreme, so many other people out here on the West Coast, but I've never had a chance to meet some of the biggest names in the community that I've just been dying to meet for the last 2 or 3 years. It's really hard to find an excuse not to come.
Yeah, Razorhawk told me he's got quite a large list of people who are like you, indicating their interest and looking for a way to actually get out to this. Quite a large number, and hopefully that'll grow. I wouldn't miss it, man.
I don't want to, and I told him, I said, it'll I want to make every intention to come. It's really it's iffy. But he's actually asked me to kind of like take point on some of the medical aspects in case we need to do any first aid. Just kind of like coordinate with the other people who are first responder trained and the like, and kind of coordinate them, try and see who's coming and who's bringing what. I'm going to be bringing my Costco card, so if we need to run down, I've looked at the map already, kind of got to fix them. They've got a Costco like 4 miles away from the convention center, so we're going to be probably running around picking up supplies, getting people what they need while we're in town. I'm really looking forward to it. I really am. I think it's going to be insane. I know when he first pitched the idea of even 100, which I think was the original scope, real-life superheroes in one place sounded impossible. But the list is pretty expansive, and it is kind of across the board with the caliber of real-life superheroes that are planning on attending.
Yeah, I know he's talked to me several times about wanting to come out to that, and basically, barring the lottery falling in my lap, it's not going to be able to happen for me at this point in time. But I wish I could make it out to Hope 2011. There has been talk about doing Hope 2011 sister projects at the same time around the area, so I may look into something like that if there's the availability and the time for me is available here. So, but I wish I could make it out there because it's going to be an amazing, amazing time to meet so many real-life superheroes in one place and just make such an impact. And I challenge any media outlet to look at Hope 2011, what's going to happen there, and act silly about it because they're not going to be able to. It's going to be so awe-inspiring. It's going to be so powerful that they're going to have to see what we were trying to show them all along, that we're out here to do good, to make people's lives better, to help those that need it. And just because we do it in a costume, it doesn't mean it's any less than anybody else. And I think it's going to show the world the real heart of the real-life superhero community.
Oh, yeah. I've heard some great ideas already to supplement the project in Hope 2011. Just recently, I had a comic book artist contact me through my real-life superhero or real-life RLSH manual website. And he said, hey, I'm a cartoonist. I just want to let you know I think what you're doing is awesome. I do my own strip. I put a link on there to your page, and I appreciate it. And I asked him if he does commission work. One of the ideas tossed out was to, get a list of the people who are planning on attending and do a splash page with all them and then raffle off or sell prints to help raise money for supplies. I heard a great idea just today. Zero, formerly Z, mentioned, hey, what about the idea of raffling off or auctioning off some of our retired gear, as like, hey, this is authentic, this is what people actually used and wore. Something like that would be really cool to put on your trophy shelf.
What about a raffling off dinner and dancing with Night Owl? Let me check with I'll check with my constituency, i.e. my girlfriend, to see how she feels about it. But, for charity. Yeah, you just have to buckle down and do it.
Now, my question would be, does Night Owl cut a mean rug?
Actually, I was just about to say, as long as it's slow dancing, Night Owl is super Caucasian, so he does not dance very well.
You just gave it up, man. You got to get into the negotiation and then throw out there, well, we can make it a slow dance for a few more dollars.
Oh, there you go. Or you really want to, get the high bidders, a meal cooked by Night Owl.
Skilled in the culinary arts, are you?
Not really, but I mean, I've got 6 months to learn. Actually, I've got a countdown on my computer, 178 days until Hope 2011.
Wow. That's just enough time to learn how to make a mean lasagna.
Yeah.
Now, Night Owl, you said you're super Caucasian. You can't dance. Now, coming from the redneck capital of the world, I would throw out, the possibility of square dance?
Oh, come on, Crossfire. You know you cut a mean cabbage patch.
I do. I
don't claim any extra skill in the coordination of dancing and such. I do. The most physical activity I get is going down, doing a couple nights a week, doing Krav Maga, and that is not really conducive to cutting a mean rug. Might break someone's nose, but it doesn't look very hip. Maybe if I got into a capoeira, I could actually look like I was doing something that was intentional.
Maybe we should steal something.
Maybe the Batutsi. I'll practice doing the Batutsi. How's that sound?
What if we could steal something from the people who do the thriller dance and get all 100 plus superheroes out there to do a line dance?
Yeah, you may have something there.
I think a Filipino penal colony did the same thing. You might want to stray from that.
I was we had to choose a different song, something like
I think he's right.
Holding Out for a Hero or the Superman theme or something, But it could definitely be fun. There's a lot of silly. One thing I love about the real life superhero community is we got some serious causes and some really dedicated people, but there's no end to the chance to be silly and enjoy your life. If you're going to be out there in spandex and a cape, you got to be able to laugh at yourself. If you take yourself too serious, you're not going to be around for very long doing something like this.
You can't take yourself too seriously.
And what I love about it is, if nothing else, when I suit up, if I just suit up and go down to the store to buy a loaf of bread, and I won't state that I've ever done that as a superhero, but I have done it as the Easter Bunny and the Clown and some other stuff, but most recently as Santa Claus. But, if I'm going to suit up and go run an errand while I'm in costume, nothing more than that, I know that at least one person who's having a bad day is going to cross my path, and they're going to have to smile or laugh. And I love the fact that it makes their day better. I giggled at Christmas. I was out doing some photographs around town in the Santa suit, and I had some appearances. We had to stop, and I had to stop and get a loaf of bread on the way home, so I just went into my Santa suit, and I hear a girl halfway across Walmart scream, "Mom, Santa Claus is real, and he shops at Walmart."
Deal.
It's the thing. Anytime I've gone out in any of my personas, including Crossfire, there's always a moment like that, just whether it's a child, whether it's an adult who finds their inner child, or I've even had some elderly people who obviously they're losing that grip on reality, and they don't even blink an eye when they look. and I love it, but there's always a smile. They might try to hide it, and if they walk away, if you turn around, they'll look over their shoulder and they'll giggle. And you've changed the world. You've taken away that anger and that pain and that bitterness that's so frequent in this world, and brought some joy into somebody's life. And I love that. And if I do nothing else but that, I've left the world a better place.
Hear, hear.
And if I could do that, and at the same time I'm raising money for a young girl that's got cancer like I did this past fall, or I'm ringing a bell for the Salvation Army, or I'm handing out food to the homeless, or whatever, you start to create a large weight, and everything behind you is better for your passing. And everybody, whether you're in costume or not, can do that. Some of us choose to do it in costume because, like Superhero says, it's fun. But it's also inspirational. And I've seen some amazing things. My friend Le'Veon loaded up for our fundraiser and drove from Illinois all the way to Arkansas with a van load of yard sale stuff to donate to a cause for a person that he'd never met, a young girl that had cancer. I've never met her, to be honest. I knew that there was a need, and we met it. And I had put the time and effort. He came all the way down and joined us and helped us work the entire event. And those kind of sacrifices and actions are what sets this community apart from the rest of the world, who just seems to be so selfish into themselves. And I love seeing that, and I love seeing the world seeing that, and it changes people. Like Peter said, it's changed his life being around the people in this community. And I'm honored that we could have that kind of impact on you, and I hope that we continue to impact the world in that way. It's changed me. It's helped me look for more creative ways. Each week something amazing happens on this show. I learn something that I didn't know. I find something that I didn't know was inside me, and I see something in the people I deal with that I didn't know was there. And this could easily have been a silly show. We've had so many real-life superhero shows on Blog Talk Radio that haven't lasted or that have digressed off into other areas of subject matter. But we've managed to keep this on focus for almost 3 months now. And each week we learn something new. And that's just amazing. There is so much wisdom, so much knowledge, so much experience in this community. I can see 2 years down the road saying the same thing, but each week we're still learning something new. And we're still growing. There's still somebody new and somebody out there that's got something to share and to help us and teach us. And so I thank you. I think Night Owl, you've been a great part of this. We did a little interview with you off air a few weeks ago, and thank Peter for being part of this. And, of course, everybody that's listening to this on the podcast. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up unless anybody else has another question for Peter.
Well, I have one, actually. While doing this, and I'm sure you've already got this all planned out. I mean, you've said that before. But my one question is, are you worried about the glory seekers? You know, the ones who maybe have not done quite so much in their community, who just want to strap on a cheap homemade costume or even if they have the money, a really good one, and just get the fame for it. Have you ever worried about that?
You know, I don't spend a lot of time worrying about that because I feel like the people that we're profiling have an established relationship with this community, have the credibility, and are appreciated, and the community as a whole. You know, maybe not everybody agrees that I've got, I don't know, one person or another, but dominantly everybody, they're considered to be, you know, appropriate for the project. And, you know, am I worried that there will be people that will come along to just do it for fame and fortune or something like that? You know, I mean, it could happen. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about it. I'd say I'd be more worried that someone would come along and do something, you know, evil or mean or, you know, dangerous or whatever, you know, in the name of real-life superheroes who was not really one of them. You know, I mean, anybody can put on a cape and go rob a liquor store, right? You don't want to have that happen. And, you know, but by and large, I don't spend a lot of time worrying about it.
Well, that's good. Well, I guess that's all for me. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure.
Nice talking to you. And actually, as I leave, can I leave you with one piece of trivia?
Okay.
Crossfire, I think you'll appreciate this. In my youth, I was an Easter Bunny professionally, a Santa Claus professionally, and a volunteer clown in some parades.
And I can guarantee it was some of the funnest times of your life, wasn't it?
I loved it. The Easter Bunny, not so much. The Santa was a little weird. I was doing Santa photography, and Santa didn't show up, so I had to do it. The clowning was fantastic. We did you know, acrobatics on, I think they call them bond shaker bikes, big front wheel, little back wheel. And
I actually started envisioning a character that became Crossfire as an extension of my clown ministry. I needed a character that didn't involve the makeup that I could use in my children's church. And when I first envisioned him, I was going to call him Good Guy. And he was going to have a partner named Sidekick, you know.
Very good.
You know, very clownish, you know, name, stuff like that. He evolved into a character, still on paper, I was calling Turtle Man. And Turtle Man first had the armor, the different pieces of the armor of God, you know, and went from Turtle Man to Holy Roller, and a Holy Roller lasted long enough for me to realize that a 300-pound man on roller skates is never a good idea. It's usually a 911 call. And so we decided not to go with Holy Roller, and do a series of blogs on Zanga with my friends. We went through a list of names and finally decided on Crossfire, representing the cross, which is the symbol of Christianity, and fire, the holy fire, which my pastor was preaching on, you know, that fire that burns inside of you, that drives you to do what's right. And so we settled on Crossfire, and it was hyphenated at first, and eventually just became the one word Crossfire. And so
very good.
It was always intentionally. I tell people I'm a clown in a super suit, which is what I am. I don't have spandex. When you're built like a walrus, you don't wear spandex. It's just not fun.
Well, that weight's coming down.
Anyway,
so I have to go. I'm out to dinner with Citizen Prime and his wife tonight. And
hello, and do toss my name out there. I'd like to get him on the air sometime and talk to him if he's willing to.
I will.
Pass on my number and the email to him. I would be glad to get him on here for one of these shows down the road.
All right. So it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Night Owl, good talking to you. Thanks for calling in, man. And I look forward to seeing you in San Diego and Crossfire. I hope you win that lottery and make it out.
I hope I win that lottery, too.
Yeah. All right. Good night, guys.
All right. Take it easy.
All right. And for Superhero Academy, this is Crossfire the Crusader signing out. Join us again next week where we have Civatron and talk about the Heroic 100. Same cross time, same cross channel. Thank you very much. Good day.